Welcome to the Grow Your Business for Good show. This is a place where coaches and consultants gather so you can learn how to lead a world-class business that does not tax your time, your energy, or your financial resources. We are your hosts, Shannon Hernandez
and Amy Hager of the Joyful Business Revolution. And our number one goal is to bring you clarity and insight on how to grow your business for good. We'll share how to have more joy and ease while growing your business, how to position your services so you are in demand, and how to use your profits for purpose so your business contributes to making the world a better place. Please subscribe to our show and spread the good news with other coaches and consultants.
For more Joyful Business Revolution growth tips, head over to www.joyfulbusinessrevolution.com. And remember our mantra, if it ain't joyful, we ain't doing that shit.
Before we jump into today's episode, we want to invite you to join us in the Content Personality Club. In this club, we help coaches and consultants attract your perfect fit clients. Here's what we know. When you tweak and enhance your messaging, or maybe even overhaul it, your business is going to get a whole lot better.
If you are experiencing any of these specific problems in your business, we want to help you. Number one, you publish content via email or social media, but it doesn't consistently convert to new clients, nor does it have the fire, flair, and feel you desire. Number two, if you're spending lots of time launching and reworking your offer, but you don't have the number of clients you think you should based on all of your hard work. Or number three, you have spent money on ads and or copywriters in the past, but none of it worked like they said it would.
Then we've got great news for you. Join us in the club where you'll learn how to leverage your content personality to create magnetic messaging. Because when your messaging is working, it does 90% of the heavy lifting for you. Visit www.contentpersonalityclub.com to join now. Today, we're going to talk about the story of the content personality wheel and how it became to be. But first, we should talk about what it is and why should you take it. So Shannon, can you explain that to our listeners?
Yes, I would love to. So the content personality wheel is a beautiful 3-minute quiz that you can take to help you understand the best way to market your business. There's a million ways to market your business, but once you understand that your energy is aligned with one type of content personality, your life is going to get a lot better. So
just one. I want to say that again. Just one. It's not everywhere, everything, all the things. It's just one.
Yes, thank you. Just one. Just one, my friends. All right. So really, in less than 3 minutes, you're going to learn how to magnetize your message, simplify your marketing, and use the psychology of selling simply and effectively. And this is a beautiful body of work. We're going to get into it with the story, and we're going to tell you, people that have been having great success stories with it over the course of the next few episodes. But for today, if you have never taken the content personality quiz, there are 5 content personality types: video, audio, written, visual, and live in person. And can you just imagine if you knew which one you were naturally good at and you stuck just to that one, how much simpler everything could be? And we're going to dive into that and talk about saving time, money, and energy in your marketing by discovering your content personality.
And so then there's a couple stories that I know we want to tell on today's episode, but really I think the starting point of the content personality wheel, there's a conversation that you had with a woman named Janet. And I think it's a really powerful conversation that happened like back in 2015-ish. So will you go back in time and tell us that story first?
Yes, I certainly will. So I want you to imagine that you have a call on your calendar as a fellow coach and consultant for a consultation. Sometimes they're called sessions, strategy sessions, discovery sessions, whatever. Janet had booked a call and I answered the call. This was back before Zoom, Amy. So, we were
You
doing
had to answer the phone?
I literally had to answer the phone. So we got on the phone and I asked Janet, of course, like how she was and how I could help her. And she went on to share that she was had signed up for a year-long coaching program, and they were in month 9 now, and she was going to fly to California, be locked in a hotel room, and was to come out in 2 or 3 days with a manuscript. And she was in tears.
Oh.
Amy, she was in tears. And I said, well, what do you want me to do about this? Like,
yeah.
Like, why are you on the phone with me? And she said, I was hoping that you can help me outline my book. And I said, hold up a minute. You're in tears. You don't want to write a book, and you're asking me to help you outline a book. And, she cried and I cried. It was a very moving conversation. And what we settled on in that conversation was that if she didn't want to write a damn book, she should not be writing a book, right? If it doesn't bring you joy, don't do it. Right. And the second thing we settled on was she should probably leave that coaching program, or just leave that part off of it and be okay with not having a book. And I laid in bed that night and I did not sleep. I literally stared at the ceiling and I'm like, this is not the first time that I've heard this. This is not the first time that people have called in tears and they've been coached to do video because it's all the rage, or they've been coached to create graphics because it's the next best thing. And I really laid there that night, Amy, and I thought about, how can I help coaches and consultants simplify this shit?
Yeah.
Because we can't be all the things to all the people in all the places. It's never going to work.
No.
So I didn't sleep. I got up, I drew a circle, which is the wheel.
This is how it all started.
That's how it all started. I drew a circle literally with a black Sharpie on a piece of paper. And I started thinking about this concept of, what if we have a natural way that we already show up and we don't need to be forced out of alignment? And it was powerful. It was so powerful. Some people call these divine downloads. Yeah. That within a week, the entire wheel, the first iteration of the quiz, and the content personality master course had been created.
Nice.
And yeah.
That's quick.
You know me, I don't let grass grow under my feet around here. Right? So if we fast forward now, I went back to Janet and I said, Janet, I got a quiz. I want you to try the quiz. And she took the quiz and she said, oh my God, I'm audio. I said, this is why you don't want to write a book.
Yeah.
And she said, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is what the part that has been missing. I am doing no audio in my marketing of my business.
None.
Zero. Wow. And Amy will give you the rest of Janet's update in a little bit, but here's what I want you to know. She came back to me 3 months later in my email, and she said, Shannon, thank you so much for the quiz. I actually dictated, as you suggested, the entire book into my phone, and I now have a manuscript.
Wow. That's amazing. And so now to even update further on Janet, she's a published author, she speaks around the globe, and she has a full client practice. And so if you've been hopping around, trying all types of content on all of the platforms, showing up everywhere, and you're really not enjoying it, I really want to invite you to join us and the thousands of other coaches and consultants who have embraced this body of work, and know that you do not need to be in all the places. That isn't helping your business. That is not helping your energy. It is draining, and you do not have to do it. You have permission to stop and really uncover what your content personality is. And so there's another great story that I love about the content personality wheel, and Shannon, it's yours. Like, it still just blows my mind how much you were doing in the wrong content personality type. And then when you switched, what happened? So tell us your story about how once you figured all this out, how did your business grow? How did you feel? Like, download this for us.
Yeah. So y'all got to realize I identified as a writer. I had authored a book. I have been writing my whole life, entering contests. Like, it was part of my identity. And those of you who know my written content, you know, it's epic. It goes on and on and on. My audience loves my written content. But here's the thing. It's not the written content that actually sells in this business. It's the live. It's the live in-person content. And so I want you all to imagine I had written this beautiful quiz and I was getting lots of feedback. We tested it. So for those of you that don't know, I have a master's in biology, a bachelor's in education, and I don't believe in rolling shit out until it's properly tested and validated. All right. So I had done my job. I had collected like hundreds of coaches and consultants in my network and said, will you please take this quiz? I need to like validate the results and see if it's even working, right? And so their stories came in and they were like, oh my God, that's exactly what I thought I was. Or, oh my God, this isn't what I thought I was. What am I going to do now? And so I thought, Shannon, you better take your own damn quiz. And this was, yeah, right. Like, this was before, you know, we had it where you just click through the 8 questions and like you literally had to print the PDF. And so I printed the PDF. It was a little checklist. I checking it off, and I tallied up my score, and it didn't say written. And I had an identity crisis. In fact, what'd you say?
Did you crap your pants?
I did. I wadded up the paper and I threw it across my office. I'm like, this quiz is bullshit.
Lies, I tell you.
And I took a deep breath and I said, oh God, what am I to do now? So I kept rolling it out, testing it. People had these ahas. They were switching over. They were getting great. So I took the quiz again. I printed it and I took it. And guess what? Live in person, not written. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to follow my own damn advice. And that was the moment that this brand exploded. Yeah. Was when I embraced, yes, I can love writing. Yes, people can love reading my writing. Yes, I can be an author and I can write these epic newsletters and articles and blogs. But guess what sells in this brand?
When you're live.
When I'm live. And we transitioned everything to live for many, many years. Now, many of you may be listening to this podcast now. You may be watching the video over on YouTube if you're catching the video content. But guess what? We're still have that live energy because I'm not by myself. Mm-hmm. I'm with Amy and I'm here having a conversation. And so we're going to talk to you throughout the next few episodes about the energy of how you show up and why that matters in your marketing and in your selling. So Amy has an interesting content personality story. And Amy, I actually want you to start. I actually want you to go back before you talk about building teams with a content personality. Mm-hmm. I want you to talk about putting me in the corner of your events when you didn't know who I was and were bringing me into the industry.
Yeah, it was tough. So I used to be the executive director of the Bed and Breakfast Association here in Virginia. And we were a 25-year-old organization that had been ran by volunteers. And if you were not in the B&B industry, had experienced the B&B industry, you didn't know what you were talking about. And so first it was a risk for them to hire me. I had an association background and, I'd been running associations, especially events, marketing, membership for a while now. but they took a risk. And so then I took a risk and started to find really knowledgeable speakers who could come and bring some fresh life into this industry. And so I had heard about Shannon from another state organization and invited her to take the Amtrak down to Virginia and come teach a breakout on writing blog content for your website for bed and breakfast owners. And I really had to pitch it to my board, and they were like, well, I guess we'll let her come, but she's not getting the biggest room. She's probably not going to get anybody showing up to her classes because no one knows her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And I was like, well, I wouldn't be suggesting somebody if I didn't think they knew what they were talking about. So I was like, you all.
Now, Amy, I'm going to stop you for a moment. And I want you all to remember my content personality is live in person. So when you think I ain't going to show up at an event and like steal that show, wrong.
She stole it. So yeah, we put her in the smallest room in the back of the conference center. And there were people standing in the hallway, like trying to listen in to what Shannon was saying. And so we invited her back the next year as a keynote speaker.
And I just want to put a side note here. You know, that movie called Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
Where they put Baby in the corner.
We put Shannon in the corner.
They totally put Shannon in the corner.
And she busted out of it.
I totally busted out of that shit. And we had a great time, huge transformations. And thank you for taking a risk on me.
Yeah, anytime. Really glad. So yeah, so when I think about where I started to embrace my content personality style, I mean, I've had a radio career. I've spoke on stages. I used to speak as a motivational speaker when I was in high school. And so I had no doubt that my content personality was live in person. And so when I took the quiz, I realized that. And so when I was teaching these bed and breakfast owners marketing, I would tell them, take this quiz and let's figure out how to leverage that. You don't have to write blogs if it's not right for you, but let's find someone to write your blogs for you. You don't have to do the things that you're not really called to do. And they thought it was crazy, but slowly but surely we started to build it out. And I took this really to other associations. And the last association that I was at that I really used the content personality wheel to build out a team was a Standardized Construction Contracts Association, which is absolutely as boring as it sounds.
I can't even say that word without cringing.
Yeah, right? Like, but really it was great because I knew I was live in person. I knew the CEO was written. So I needed to make sure that I balanced us out with someone who was in visual, someone who could do audio, and someone who was in video. And when I hired my salesperson for that team, I made sure that person was audio because I didn't need any of the other content personality types. We needed someone to pick up the phone who was comfortable making phone calls and talking to people. And this guy that I brought in, we'll talk later about it in audio, but once we got that team built out with all the content personality types, they were hovering at like that 750 sales range for a couple of years. We got up to $1.4 million within a year, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But we were really working as a team, not aligned necessarily loving standardized contracts, but we loved how we talked about it. We loved how we promoted it. And that's where the alignment really, really showed up differently than, when you're able to market your own business. So when you're thinking about the content personality wheel, I want you to take it for yourself, but also if you have a team, it's worth having your team take it too and look at their duties. Are they aligned with where they really shine?
It's so amazing to see how this body of work is being used in so many different areas of growing business. I had originally thought of it as marketing, and we've expanded that out into teams and selling and marketing. And we're so excited to bring you all this body of work that's changing lives, but also the wisdom and the research, if you will, that goes along with it. So we could tell stories, Amy, for days and days about how the content personality wheel has changed lives of coaches and consultants around the globe, and how they are now approaching, marketing, selling, and team building in their businesses. So we're going to stop for today, but we're inviting you to take the content personality quiz and to tune in for the next 5 episodes where we will dive deep into each content personality type and show you how to use it to grow your business for good.
Thank you for listening to the Grow Your Business for Good podcast with your hosts, Shannon Hernandez and Amy Hager.
Head over to www.joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/quiz to take the content personality quiz and join our community. And remember our mantra, if it ain't joyful, we ain't doing that shit.
If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, and spread the good news with other coaches and consultants.